What's going on, fellas?
How we doing?
What's
Good,
up,
man.
man?
Welcome everybody back to the Six Rings Kane show. We will be joined here shortly after he eats the hot dog or the wiener that he's been having for dinner. Apparently, Max from Miami Flow, from Team Miami Flow, he'll be on shortly with us here. Um, but before we get it started, what's going on, fellas? How you guys doing? How was your weekend? Anything exciting happen?
Nah, my weekend was too short, but luckily we're at the midweek point already, so we're almost looking forward towards another weekend.
Hell yeah.
That's true. We're right in the middle here, so like asking how your weekend is on a
Well,
Wednesday.
we don't. Nobody knows. We don't talk. I mean, we talk a little bit during the week, but whatever. How's your week been going? Is that better?
Well, I did. So following up on last week's show where we opened all the. So Jazz, you caught this live, and I didn't pick up on it until like I looked back at the shirt. So one of the shirts that Dime Life sent me in my mystery box, which they asked for sizing, and then they sent me a woman's shirt, which Jazz called as, do they have it? He said, do they have it in male gender? He said something like that. And I didn't pick up on it, but it was actually a woman's shirt, so I did get rid of it. So
All right.
I have.
You
Yeah.
gave it to a lucky lady. Is that what you did?
Yes. So my one of my close friends that I went to middle school and college with, his wife, I sent him. He's my only close friend that actually watches this show. So
Nice.
I said to their house and I put a note in there. I was like, I'll give him a shout out since he watches. Glenn Cohen. I was like, I said to his wife and said, Glenn will tell you where this came from, and just like
Thank
said,
you, Glenn. By the way, thank you, Glenn, if you're watching.
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks for watching. Yeah, so I did find a way to dispose of it, but you picked up on that, and I was like holding it, but I was like, I was doing a bit, I was too locked in, and, and I didn't pick up on it. Thinking like, what size? I looked down and saw an S, and then when I looked at it later, I was like, that's a woman's shirt, like that is 100.
That would have been interesting to see you wear that one. All
I
right?
mean, maybe that should have been the bit, but then it definitely would have been stretched out and ruined. So
Do you have appropriate size trash bags too this week, Vish?
no,
I mean,
I still have the. This is like reverse. I still have the oversized trash bag. I mean, I do a lot of shredding.
get it together, Vish. Get it together.
I
know, right?
I work with the government. Let's leave that alone. You don't want to go in the shredder.
Nobody knows.
You don't know what's in the shredder, man.
You
You
don't
don't
know
know
what's in the
You don't know
shredder.
what's in the. There's nothing in the shredder. It's like junk mail and stuff with my address on. I don't want to put out in the trash.
Oh man, that's awesome. Real quick, by the way, before we get things going, we'll give a shout out to our excuse me, to our sponsor for the night, Prize Picks. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Prize Picks. It's the official daily fantasy app for Five Reasons Sports, for the Five Reasons Sports Network. Make sure when you do sign up, you use the code FIVE. That's FIVE. Not the number five, but the actual words, excuse me, the letters FIVE, five. Price Picks will match your initial deposit up to $100, which is really nice. You don't have to use it all at once. Okay, so you can play NHL, NBA, whatever else other sport is out there that you can, golf, tennis. I think there's a whole bunch of different ones that you can play. You can mix and match players as well. You don't have to have the same player. You choose anywhere between 2 to 5 players, depending on how much you want to make. And that's really how it is, right? The more players you pick, the more over unders you can kind of guess on, I guess. Is the best way to say it, and it's individual categories as well. So you've got a lot of options. It all depends again how much you want to make. So choose 2 to 5 of your favorite players. Choose their over unders on individual categories and win. So go to prizepicks.com, sign up today using the code 5, like we said, FIVE, and Prize Picks will match $100, up to $100 of your initial deposit. Make sure you go prizepicks.com. Let's get right back into it.
So we got the chat going. We got Chug as always out here supporting. So,
there he is.
Yeah.
Chug the beer. What's up, Big Daddy? Ready for another great show, guys. Keep up the great work. Smash the like button. Canes for life. Yeah, make sure you guys go to the Five Reasons Sports YouTube network. And subscribe and give us a like. We do appreciate it. So smash that like button. Thanks a lot, Chug the Beer.
Thank you, Chug.
Yeah, and then we got Gary in there making jokes already.
What's up, Gary? Same size as Mario's jersey. Yeah, no kidding, right?
And then I don't know. We need intro music or something, but the mustache is coming in, so everyone be prepared.
The stash, there he is.
Hey.
Wow, with some color on your face today too, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not dark in the room yet, So
Ah,
that's really what makes me look like a ghost. I did just order a camera though
good,
this
good,
morning,
good
so
idea.
hopefully I can edit the lighting a little bit on the new camera.
Yeah, because
Because
on your show last night, you were invisible, man. It
I
was
know it was
unbelievable.
crazy. Gary was in there talking crap.
Was he really?
He was.
That's awesome.
I'm like,
That's
well, where's the spicy chicken nuggets?
our
Wait,
resident trash talker.
Gary cheated on us with your show,
He
and
did.
oh my God, Gary.
Gary, we'll let it slide, man.
Yeah, wait, what's going on, man?
You're
You
a
know,
resident trash
I
talker.
mean, I understand he believes in the Nuggets, and he did call us out for not, really getting behind it today. So he's looking for alternate ways to get the Nuggets made.
Gary,
Yeah,
the minute that they
apparently.
do come out with spicy chicken nuggets, we're eating them live on TV, one way or the other, on YouTube.
Yeah, as long as we don't do the show on Sunday.
We need to get you on the show, Gary. I would love that. Honestly, I would wear my Nebraska shirt for you, Gary, and we would have a great time.
Well, where's Coach Feld? I was promised Coach Feld would be on the show today with the mustache. So,
Oh, no, he couldn't make it. He was out
okay.
doing better things, clearly. Listen, we got a couple things to kind of go over. I guess not too much in the world of Miami football that's so crazy, right? I know we're still kind of waiting to see what happens with the last two hires that we are looking to make relatively soon. We'll talk a little bit about that. Definitely want to start off with the hiring, which we didn't talk about last week. I don't believe was the new, I guess, co-defensive coordinator, as we now know, and linebackers coach Charlie Strong. Huge hire for the University of Miami. I know that all of us here love that hire. I think it was a home run, another home run hire. Just think about the fact that you were able to get a guy that has been a successful head coach. I don't care what anybody says, has been a successful head coach at multiple stops, has been a kick-ass defensive coordinator at some others. And again, he's one of the top recruiters in the country as well. So it's really exciting. I kind of want to get your takes on how you feel. Vish, we'll start off with you on the whole Charlie Strong hire. I know there's haters are gonna hate, right? And there's some people talking trash, but I love this hire. I think it's huge.
Yeah, and someone in the chat had asked about this a couple of weeks ago, I believe, and I answered for the group because I think we were all thinking that ain't happening, but I gave it and it happened. I was just like, there's nothing to hate on here. I mean, the hating on it is stupid. Like, if 15 years from now or whatever Mario retires and we try to promote him to head coach, he might not be up to it. It's like, I don't understand what the criticism would be here. This is a national championship quality defensive coordinator we have brought in to be, linebackers coach and maybe help Steele out a little bit. He'll have the co-DC label. I think we all know Steele's the main guy, but I mean, that's so much overqualified for the position we have him in. It's continuing that trend of either getting people to take a demotion to join our staff or, going to another major program and pulling the equivalent position. And in this case, obviously he'd been in the NFL as a linebackers coach last year. So, getting someone like that with his background, I don't see a downside to it. And like you said, rival fans are frankly squirming a little bit. I mean, if I'm rolling out Mike Norvell and I'm looking down south and seeing this, I'm worried too. So yeah, I get it. I get why the hating is.
That other school is hiring a bunch of G5 guys.
Well, I mean, they hired a G5 head coach. That tracks G5. I mean, we've done that, right? We've done that, and sometimes you hit it and it works, but that is rare. We're going the traditional route now. We're spending the money, and when you bring the big time head coach in, then top quality assistants want to work for that guy. And that's why we're able to attract them. The money helps, and we're definitely spending money, and that matters. But you gave this budget to Manny Diaz. He's not bringing in these assistants because they don't want to work under him. They don't respect him. They're like, I should be the head coach instead of him. And so you run into those issues. We don't have those problems now. And, maybe U.S. coach will work out, but he came from Louisiana. And so those are his connections. And, Kevin Steele's not going to go work for him. I mean, this is the bottom line. Kevin Steele's probably like, I could be the head coach there. Why am I going to go work for him? So this is all just coming together. I mean, it's great. I'm happy. I don't know what else to say. I'm used to criticizing this program. It's just I'm still in a funny place.
Honestly, Vish hasn't spoken much lately. I mean,
it's been. I know. And then the basketball team is playing well, and then the women's team actually played their way. Now they're in the latest tournament in the bracketology. Baseball's about to go to 4-0. It's just everything's going well.
5-0. 5-0.
Oh yeah, 5-0. That's right. I played a 4-game set last week. So they're finishing off FAU right now, and it's just, everything's going well. I don't know. I'm very uncomfortable with this. I need something to suck, but
I know.
it's just like it's going too well.
DJ, what's your take on the Charlie Strong hire, man?
Absolutely great hire. When you look at his resume, he has stops as obviously the head coach at Texas. I mean Notre Dame, Florida. He started his coaching career at Florida, and he also worked at USF. So he has a good grasp on the state of Florida. He has head coaching experience, and this was just another case of Mario being able to put together another extremely strong piece on this coaching staff. I personally see no downside with it. I mean, I was kind of in the same boat as Vish last week. I didn't think Strong would be willing to kind of take a demotion to come here, but that speaks to, the type of talent that Mario can kind of bring into the program and how much he is respected across the college football landscape. This is an absolutely excellent hire, and I couldn't believe it when I heard the news.
I know that was huge. And Max, so my thing is, and by the way, don't forget Louisville, right? He was a hell of a head coach at Louisville as well.
That's right, yeah.
Max,
if you recall, there was a very painful couple of Al Golden games against him that went like a lot of Al Golden games went, but we were just not even in their league.
Which I'm gonna get, which is perfect because that's what I wanted to ask Max, right? Like some of the players that he's recruited, some of the players that he's coached and developed, right, are some of the guys that kicked our ass when he was playing with Louisville. Specifically, one that I could remember that threw all over us, right? So, I mean, talk to me about what this means for the University of Miami going forward. Is he kind of like and that DC and waiting? And we understand he's actually not as young as maybe we thought he was, right? So, what does this mean from a coaching perspective? And just name me some of the players that he's been able to bring into his programs and what that means for us as well from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best recruiters in the country. Like, who has he not brought in? He plucked Teddy Bridgewater away from us.
There he is.
He just destroyed us when he was there. And he's just one of the best recruiting coaches in the country. It's funny, people say, oh, well, he was with the worst team in the NFL. Yeah, but how many linebacker coaches are in the NFL? And he was one of them. So that argument just isn't strong at all.
And they actually had some pretty good linebackers there, too.
Yeah, they did.
So
they did. It definitely wasn't one of the worst positions they had. So to me, I mean, it's a home run hire. It just shows that Mario's playing, big fish hunting. It was surprising to me, but not in the same way. I had heard early on that he wanted him on staff. The hesitation, the reason I was surprised was I had heard that Steele didn't want a co-DC, and so Charlie Strong was planning on coming to be the co-DC and the linebackers coach. But for whatever reason,
Yeah, man, I wonder what the hell happened. Like,
yeah.
It puts a smile on our face, right? Because something crazy must have happened.
At the end of the day, Mario gets what Mario wants. It's just
apparently.
how he is as a recruiter in high school talent, and apparently it's the same with coaching because he's gotten who he's wanted at pretty much every position. You just can't put into words how big this hire is, and people they're excited about it, but I don't think they realize how big of a hire this is. Like, it is one of the most important hires on the staff.
Yeah. I agree. Now, here's my thing, and Vish, I actually wanted to come to you on this because I think you'll have some really good insight on this. It's an all-star cast, right? It's an all-star staff. Like, if you really look at it, and we're still not done, right? We still may have two massive hires that we'll kind of get into, but this is where I wanted to go with that. Like, we've seen this before, maybe not necessarily in the staffing realm, but in players, right? Like when you assemble a team that's just full of superstar athletes, whether it's the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever it is, it doesn't always kind of work, right? So some people kind of, maybe I think this is the thing, right? This is the thing that they worry about. Well, we have so many, big time home run hires. How is this all going to work? is it a a case where, well, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is all going to work with so many big egos per se, or maybe they're not big egos, right? And this is why Mario put this team together. Like, what's your thoughts on that side of it all?
So I think they are big egos, and I think they should be. These are very accomplished people. You don't get like Charlie Strong's a national championship defensive coordinator. Like, I mean, I don't know what we're talking about here. In terms of he better have an ego. How you don't get that way without an ego. The big thing is everyone knows where the buck stops. We have a really strong head coach, and that matters. You would have a disaster if you had someone with like Larry Coker's personality trying to manage this, right? Because then it's like he's not in charge. Who is? Right? But there's no question who's in charge of the program, and that helps a lot. Everyone knows where the buck stops. It's also, there is separation in football. Like the offense does the offensive thing. They're not really crossing a lot. So, like Mario's not going to go tell Gaddis how to run his offense. Like he's going to give him that autonomy. So it's easier on his ego, which obviously has it since he left Michigan, gave them 2 middle fingers on the way out. And then defensively, I think if Steele didn't want a co-DC and then he now has one in there, the reason he's okay with it is because it's someone with Strong's pedigree. So you're naturally going to have to deal with the Eagles. I don't think it's going to be a problem just because everyone knows, like, Mario will kill you. So, like, you're going to stay in line. Everyone's going to know what their role is. And it might be some non-traditional stuff just because he has so much experience on the staff, right? But everyone knows where the buck stops, and not to step out of line. Everyone's going to know this is what I'm supposed to be doing here, and they're going to do that job. They're not going to overstep it because they know who's in charge of the program. And that matters a lot. You have a strong head coach. I mean, this is how Alabama gets away with it, right? He's pulling in very similar. Like Bill O'Brien was on the Texans head coach, fired. Okay, you be my offensive coordinator. It's not going to be a problem because everyone knows this is Nick Saban's program. So it's the same thing here. Like there is no doubt who's in charge and who you answer to if you screw up.
Yeah.
So everyone will stay in line. They know what they signed up for too. Mario's a known commodity. They're obviously okay with it, and I think these are a lot of guys that are excited to be part of what they think is going to be the resurgence of one of the great programs in college football that's stumped for 20 years. And they want to be on that ride. And I think that's why they're signing up. There's the money's there, the head coach is respected, and everyone knows what this program can be. When this program's at its best, nothing matches it. And I think they all want to be part of it.
Miami's putting college football on notice for sure, man. I think everybody now, whether they're talking bad or talking good, starting to realize that if this thing gets going, this machine gets going, and you get a guy like Mario that's running the show the whole time, it could get ugly fast for a lot of people. So it'll be exciting to see. Now, of course, at the end of the day, we have to see what they do on the field, right? But I think that this is a start. This is the right way that they've gone. And speaking of that, right, like we still got a couple hires to make, right? And we've talked about a couple different hires, right? Tight end coach. Are they going to keep Field? Are they going to go with a guy like Hartley has been mentioned? There's been other guys that have been mentioned. Max, I kind of want to go to you on this as far as what positions you think. And again, defensive end is another position that we've thought that they're going to bring in the coach, another coach at. Do you think that those are the 2 positions that we're really looking to hire, either outside or even a guy? I guess in this case, it would be bringing Stephen Field in to stay as a tight end coach as well. What do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, I think that I'm under the impression that we're going to hire a tight ends coach and a defensive ends coach.
Right.
I think Jamil Adai is going to be handling corners and safeties. I think somebody off field is going to be handling special teams. So we have the luxury of being able to hire a defensive ends coach, which not every program does. A lot of programs that run 3-4 schemes on defense have that, tend to do that because the outside linebacker is more of a pass rushing specialty. And because of Kevin Steele being so versatile and running 3-man fronts, 4-man fronts, 5-man fronts, I think it would be beneficial for us to have like a kind of pass rush specialist. So I'm under the impression that's the direction we're going in. It could be an internal. I'll put it this way. Everyone on staff was notified that they're not being retained unless Mario wants him. So I don't think Field has ever been guaranteed that he was going to be the tight ends coach. I think Mario probably, this is just an assumption, guaranteed him that he wants him on staff, but didn't have the specific role for him, whether it was going to be recruiting coordinator, what have you, or tight end coach. And so I think Mario's probably going big game hunting for tight end coaches. And if those guys aren't interested in leaving their current schools, then I think Coach Field could be retained as the tight end coach. I think regardless of what happens, he's going to be on staff. So the fans that are kind of panicking, oh well, he's done good here, why would you get rid of him? Well, we're not necessarily getting rid of him. It's the same thing as DVD. We could move him to off field, and that's not even a guarantee. He may be staying as a tight end coach anyway.
Right.
So the names that I've heard are the names that we've all kind of talked about. The same names you mentioned, Jazz. James Coley over at Texas A&M. I don't think it's likely. He just got co-OC over there. Todd Hartley just won a national championship at Georgia. He's from Georgia. He went to Georgia. Probably not as likely. The name that pisses everybody off, and I went on a huge tangent about it last night on my show, is Tim Brewster, because everyone just remembers him talking on Twitter, blocking our fan base, and putting the U down when he was at Florida State. But what the fans need to realize is Mario doesn't care about our emotions. Like, let's take emotions out of it. Let's look at the facts here. He was the coach for Antonio Gates, a basketball player. Coached him in the NFL his first 2 to 3 years, coming from a basketball background to a Hall of Famer. Just coached Kyle Pitts, coached Jace Sternberner, who was in the NFL for a while at Texas A&M. He's constantly developed players in the NFL and in college, and he's an elite recruiter. He got Sam Howell. He helped to get Dalvin Cook when he was at Florida State. He got Marvin Wilson when he's at Florida State, another 5-star. Irvin Lane, another 5-star. At Florida State. So he is certified. I think the panic from the fans is they just don't like him. But again, Mario's not interested about what we like.
Yeah, but who cares? Yeah, like who cares if we don't like him? I mean, I don't really care.
I don't either
about my feelings don't matter. I want the best guy.
And yeah, exactly. Get the best guy for the job. They'll figure it out. What do you think he's gonna like? Because he used to talk shit about us. He's gonna like not coach correctly. Like what do you think? What do you think? The one
he's not gonna try recruiting.
And I do think it's funny that like everyone was okay. Like the one thing I would draw the line as if like some of that Kendall Briles stuff I was not comfortable with. I probably would have convinced myself it was fine if we hired him. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm a hypocrite, but like getting involved in a rivalry and like making fun of us when you're coaching at FSU, like I don't care. Yeah, Randy Shannon's coach got their staff now. Randy Shannon, if you watch like those 80s Canes team, you should have seen what he was doing to FSU back then. He was on like the Jimmy Johnson Canes, like, and then he's coaching there now because these are professionals. Like I don't understand what people think is gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the greats that played for the Celtics and the Lakers. Like, there's tons of them and coached on both teams. It's like that's just part of the business, Me Jr. brings up a good point. Sabbath Joseph literally threw the U down with Wesley. Wesley's a Cane, and Sabbath is a Cane now. Are we just going to, like, tell Wesley not to come and tell Sabbath you're fired already? Like, no. Take your emotions out of it. Yeah. Is he a good coach? Yes. Is he a good recruiter? Yes. So then he should be qualified for the job.
Absolutely. 100%. And that's the way I feel for any of those coaches. I really don't care who it is. I mean, coaching, again, it's a business. It's a profession. It is what it is. Shout out really quick before we keep going. Canes 1989. What's going on, man? Appreciate it. Me Jr. Thanks a lot. Daryl Drakeford, friend of the show, always on. Gary mentioned turning a blind eye to rape and throwing down the U are maybe not the same thing.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. That was the point I was making. Like we were all trying to equivocate that stuff, but then we got a problem because someone did this. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's
what are we doing? So there are some. I don't know if we want to get to some people have been asking questions in the chat. I don't want to lose them.
Yeah, if you have something, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, there's Ken Durham asked, this is a while back, but asked if there was anything with Ed, what was going on with Ed Reed. I know is he technically still employed by? I don't know if anyone has any insight.
I think he is. Right?
He's still employed. I believe, and to kind of kill two birds with one stone. Herbert also asked, is Alonzo Highsmith going to be a part of the program? I believe that both of them are going to continue to be. Well, Alonzo isn't. He's going to be back. I think Alonzo and Ed Reed are both going to be on staff. Role wise for Ed Reed, not too sure. I think I know Alonzo Highsmith's role. I think he's going to be like the general manager of the team, helping with recruiting, helping with business operations, all that kind of stuff. That's the impression I'm under. So I think both of them are going to be on staff.
I think that maybe he may have he may have some sort of role in working closely with possibly with Radakovich, right? I mean, that could be an option from a football standpoint, handling a lot of the stuff and collaborating with Radakovich on a lot of things. I think that's where you'll see him get involved a lot, if you ask me. So, what else you got, Vish? Anything else you got there?
I mean, I don't even know if this is. So Kane's 1999 asked, "What about? I mean, is he even a coach?"
That's just nostalgia kicking in. 89.
I mean, I don't know if this was. I might be missing an inside joke, or I don't know if he's a coach or not. I honestly haven't kept up with him.
I don't know, but I'd take Greg Olson over him, though. Right?
Well, Greg Olson's a broadcaster now.
He's a hell of a broadcaster.
He's very good in the booth. No, I think when you start, we don't have to. Even if I think you would keep Field if you get to I don't know.
If you had to do something like that, I'd still stick with Field. I know he's probably the one with the least amount of experience as a coach per se, but as a recruiter, he's a hell of a recruiter. And I think just by interacting with him a few times that I have, he is an amazing person. I can see why his personality is so infectious, and players and families love him so much. So I'm totally okay with having Stephen Field back as his tight ends coach. I think it would be huge. And a lot of these guys are going to be coached up by Gaddis as well. So I'm not even worried about that. Kind of moving on real quick, we'll kind of go over the defensive end coaching position, which I think is, if you ask me, it might be a little more exciting as far as the names that we're hearing there on that side. Because I mean, you're talking about a Hall of Famer, right? You're talking about one Hall of Famer, two, another guy that's an absolute stud of a coach, and he can recruit, right? And he's in the SEC, and a couple other guys. So, Max, what's your thoughts on? I know we're thinking about Garner, right? Garner, which is the cat over at Tennessee, University of Tennessee, who's getting a lot of publicity now. Recently, he's been a big name that we've been bringing up, and also Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. And I know I'm missing a few guys there. What's your take on what style? Right, obviously they're going to be coaching defensive ends, and Salaveo will still be able to help out there, and you definitely want somebody that can kind of coach together with him. But look, Salaveo's an NFL guy. Jason Taylor's an NFL guy. Who's the guy that maybe you want to see as a defensive end coach?
They played together, right?
Yeah, at Washington, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
no, but who I want? I don't know where this Rodney Gardner talk came from, because this was a name that like A Black and I were talking about, like when Mario got hired. And we were you saw it, Jazz. We were posting about it in the Discord a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
and just like all of a sudden, I haven't seen it on 24/7 Rival, nothing like that. But now it seems like everybody's talking about the name. I'm not sure kind of where that came from. Maybe I missed it. Maybe somebody did mention the name. But it seems like it the world's on fire with his name right now. Like everybody's talking about him. For those who don't know who he is, he was at Auburn for a long time, coached with Kevin Steele, has over 20 former players under him in the NFL. Like it's probably in the 30s. He recruits 5 stars and 4 stars basically only. You literally have to like continuously scroll down to see how many players he's recruited, and they're like all 5 and 4 stars. He's known as one of the best D-line coaches in all of college football. To come here as a D-ends coach would be like ridiculous. And then you obviously have like Charlie Partridge, who, everybody thinks is kind of a pipe dream. I'm not sure where I feel like how I feel with that. I think he got co-DC at Pitt or something along the lines over there. I know Mario had spoken to him when he first got hired. Not sure if the talks are still, going on right now, but again, that would be another home run. The guy puts guys in the league every single year. It's crazy. He's just getting like these 3 stars from the middle of nowhere and turning them into like first round, second round, third round NFL draft picks. It's unbelievable what he does over there. And then Jason Taylor, a lot of people don't. Their skepticism is, well, does he want to recruit? Does he want to work hard? Well, if you watched him coach at St. Thomas Aquinas, oh my gosh,
that's like coaching a college program right there.
First off, yeah, you're right. He's the DC there, so it's technically a little bit, he has more things to do. One, he has to recruit at Aquinas because they recruit. So he already is used to recruiting. But also, if you watch him coach, he is so enthusiastic and energetic about every small detail because it reminds him of when he played, and he just doesn't want to give that up. Like, I've listened to him talk while he's coached. It's crazy. It's like watching him play.
And I mean,
So
think about this. Like, you get, oh, who's my coach? Oh, the Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive ends ever. Oh, Chance Williams, that's who you're going to get coached by. Oh, Elijah Roberts, that's who you're going to get coached by. That guy's going to be in your face telling you how to. Come on. I mean, how do you not want to get a coached by a guy like that? That, it's unbelievable.
you know who Mario's comp was for Cyrus Moss? Jason Taylor. Like,
Yeah.
imagine telling him when you're recruiting him, that's your comp, and then he becomes your coach. Like, that is just unbelievable.
It's incredible.
And also, just on the point about whether he wants to recruit or work hard in recruiting, like, everyone knows what they're signing up for when you work for Mario. No one's coming here not to work hard. And this is and again, I think we get. This dude is one of the best defensive ends in NFL history. Don't think he works hard? Like, what are we talking about? Some of the stuff people come up with is so laughable.
It's
like,
so funny.
Do you think they rolled out of bed one day and just became that good?
And he said he wants to coach in college. It's not like it's coming out of nowhere. He wants to coach in college. He just doesn't want to leave South Florida. Wow.
Flo, Max, that's a guy that could be here 2, 3, 4 years and eventually be a defensive coordinator. And are you going to say? I mean, that's something that I could see him wanting to do. And
100%.
I'd be 100% okay with that. By the way, shout out to Terry Hanley. I found you. I don't know.
Yeah,
what that
he's
means.
following me. He's following me everywhere.
Supreme Goon, what's going on, Goon? How's it going, man?
He's following me too, apparently.
Yeah, so he follows all of us. His stalker status over there. Oh, by the way, real quick, Anthony Mendez put up asked a question there. Is Isaiah Walker still with the Hurricanes football program? As far as I know, yes.
I believe so. I can find out.
Yeah, and I would.
Why is there a reason? Is there a reason we think he's left? I know he didn't. I think we thought he would be get locked and started. Basically, didn't play last year. But
that's one of my sleeper guys.
Yeah, he's had a lot of demons to deal with.
Right.
Right.
So he's So.
But I think they're allowing him to. I think they're kind of being sympathetic, allowing him to work through it. I don't.
Which I like because I think he might be one of the most talented, if not the most talented, offensive lineman on this team. He just needs to put it all together, and that's and hopefully we wish him well on that. So we hope that he does that. Really quick before we get on to the next topic, which is some recruiting stuff, and then we'll close it out. DJ, I want to kind of get your take on, give me out of those guys that we spoke about, defensive end coaches, who's the guy that you want to see on this team?
Just in terms of value and name, Jason Taylor, because when I was looking at recruiting, I've been looking at it for a couple of years, and St. Thomas Aquinas is a school that always pops up. It's a school where teams want to get players from. It's a school where big time college football programs want to get players from, and if you can get a guy like Jason Taylor who's helping lead that team on the staff, that would be absolutely incredible. I mean, and to your point, I totally agree with you guys. I have no idea where the comments about he doesn't want to work hard come from, because he absolutely destroyed NFL offensive lines every single year. I saw it firsthand up here in New England. He would absolutely destroy the Patriots every single time that the Patriots play the Dolphins. But Jason Taylor would definitely be on my, not short list, but he would be my preferred candidate just because he would bring a name to the position. And you're talking about an already deep coaching staff. When you look at how technically sound Taylor was, I would definitely think that he would benefit Miami.
Big shout out to one of my good friends there, Carlos Casanova, JT, all in. Listen, I think I'm all in with JT also. A lot of people, I think the biggest thing, like you said, DJ, and I guess everybody has said here, is does he want to recruit? Well, maybe, okay. Maybe his strong suit is not going to be recruiting right away. Is he going to recruit like crazy and he's going to be a bulldog out there? Absolutely. But now you're talking about, like you said, DJ, a guy that's sound as a developer of talent and a Hall of Famer. Like, let's just think about that for a second. At that position that he's coaching, And he's a proven guy as a coach because he's coaching at one of the nation's top high schools that almost operates like a college. So I think that you give me Jason Taylor, and I'm happy with that.
And he's dealing with high school kids. I understand that criticism if it's someone coming from the NFL to college, because it's just not recruiting's not an aspect of the NFL job. You draft players, the check talks, so it's really like how much money you can pay them, right? A lot more than the coach having to convince someone to come play for them. So I understand that thing of just like it's kind of not part of the pro game, and does someone coming from pro to college really want to engage in that where you have to convince someone to come play for you?
Right.
He's coming from high school up. That's a different thing. Like he's dealing with these kids already, so he's day to day having to deal with them. So again, I'm not concerned with it at all.
Oh, by the way, every South Florida defensive end wants to be Jason Taylor, so maybe they would want to play for him too. Just a bit, you think?
Maybe.
And again, having a pipeline to Aquinas, a school that we haven't had a pipeline to for quite some time, would help our roster significantly.
Agreed.
And even if Taylor wasn't a sound recruiter, let's just say for the heck of it, he was not a sound recruiter, Mario has built enough depth on this coaching staff to where I don't think that would be an issue. If there's one thing Jason Taylor brings, we talked about it, he brings skills and, development to the position. So even if he wasn't a sound recruiter, then that would be okay because we have that depth on the staff to be able to overcome that potential, area.
Yep. Absolutely, man. All right, so I guess essentially speaking of recruitment, right? The transfer portal is still hot. Some names that have popped up recently on the radar here for the Miami Hurricanes. We'll start off with the first one is Daryl Porter, which is the cornerback out of West Virginia, who has recently put his name in the transfer portal. Still 3 years of eligibility, which I like because that means he can still be coached up and developed a little bit, and he's still got some growing to do. But there's some people have told me, and Max, I kind of want to get to you on this because I spoke to you about this possibly a little earlier. Some people have told me maybe he's not the best when it comes to press man coverage. He might be on a little bit on the slower end. Maybe he's not. I haven't seen too much tape on him. I haven't seen a lot. I do know that he's coming from a good program. Okay, Jamil Adai recruited him to West Virginia when he was there. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about what they're saying about Daryl Porter and what you're seeing on the talent that he could be if he decide. By the way, he put us in his top 4, which was obvious already from a lot of things we were hearing. What's your take on Daryl Porter?
I think that's just false. He's a guy that has flexibility. He can play outside and inside. He's about 5'11", 185, 190. Had 5 pass breakups and a pick this past season as pretty much a freshman, first year playing. And again, if he was good enough to be recruited by Adai, then Adai doesn't just, even though he was at a lower school in West Virginia, Adai doesn't just recruit guys that aren't that good. Like Adai goes and gets guys that are legit. Comes from a family of athletes. His mom is the same mother of Marvin Jones Jr. His father played in the league, and is a coach in South Florida. So I don't get that notion. Like I've watched his tape. I watched him in high school. He's a legit prospect, and again, he does have 3 years of eligibility. So does he have to start right away? No, not at all. He can come in and be a depth piece for the first year and kind of grow if you need him to. But I think he could start here day one.
That's huge.
I'd also say, we're not. I love what we're doing. We're not in a position to turn down talent. Like, what are we talking about? Like, yeah, you get this kid in, you figure out, like, he's definitely.
Yeah, but I think Mario's going to be selective with who, and obviously.
No, I mean, you're not
staff.
Right. We're not. Well, I mean, we've gone the opposite of the Manny strategy, which is to basically not recruit and try to do everything through the portal, right? So we're not going to just bring everyone in, but this is I think we're talking. I don't think anyone's saying that he's not talented. We're talking about is he the right fit? Can he really bring him in here, figure out where he fits in our scheme, and play him there?
Let Adai coach him up. Anyways,
yeah. We can coach him up. Like everyone says, he's got 3 years of eligibility left. But also, I don't think anyone's denying the talent is there or that he's a Miami caliber talent. I think I read the comments, Jess. I think it was more, does he fit with schemes? And to me, I'm not even worried about that. You bring the talent in, you figure it out.
Is he, at the end of the day, Max, is he a Kane, you think?
I feel good about it right now. And again, about the scheme thing, Kevin Steele runs like 87 schemes, so I think
That's
he'll
true.
be fine in at
Yeah.
least a couple of them. Uh, but no, I feel good with where we're at. I think if the staff is as high on him as he is on us, he'll be a Kane. Um, so I feel pretty good about it right now.
And Jose Santos brings up a great point. His father is the DC at American Heritage, which is nice too. Maybe he wants to be close to home and be with pops right around the corner. So, I mean that
And moms.
I'd have to think that yeah, of course, and moms is always more important, right? But I think that'll play a big factor in his recruiting as well. And if he decides to pull the trigger, which I think he's going to announce soon, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think I know he wants. I know he was asking around on Twitter for some edits, so.
Yeah, I need to ask.
We got to put him on to
I
to
did.
Rasta and to Jazz, right?
I did. I'll see if he hit either of them up and see
That'll
what's
be
going on. But
if he did, then maybe we have an idea as to what he's gonna do, right?
that's why I gotta hit him up.
That would be awesome, man. Anybody else that we're expecting maybe in the secondary that maybe hasn't even entered the transfer portal yet, or maybe some names that have but we haven't really spoken about too much?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the thing with spring ball is there's going to be a lot of
Yeah,
attrition, roster attrition after spring, during spring, right before spring, when the first kind of
right.
depth charts start to pop up. So, I definitely think there's going to be some good talent coming in the portal. But again, I think Porter is fine as a take because we still do have room to take a second corner if a guy. I said this example last night on the show. Let's just say an Elias Ricks type, 5-star, was at LSU, was at shutdown corner, hits the portal, goes to Bama. If somebody like that's in the portal, we're still going to have room to take that player. So I'm taking Daryl Porter Jr. all day. And if a guy like that hits the portal, you take him. You take him as well.
Yeah, amen to that. And lastly, the last guy we'll talk about, or the position we'll talk about, which is probably the most important on the defense side of the ball right now, because quite frankly, it's a position that we talk about the most with lacking not necessarily talent, but uh, um, progress, or what's the word I'm looking for? Production. Production. Okay, it's a linebacker position. Got another guy that just entered a portal that put us in his top 4 as well as a linebacker out of UCLA, down in your area, in your neck of the woods over there, Max. Mitchell Agude. Did I say that right? Mitchell Agude?
Sure.
Sure. Let's go with that one. Mitchell Agude. What's the talk on him putting us in his top 4? Everybody else, I think it's Tennessee, Oregon, and Washington, if I'm not mistaken, or the other 3, right? So.
Yep.
What kind of makes him want to? Is he in talks with someone down here? What's his tie to South Florida or the Hurricanes?
Well, his tie is the fact that he played against Mario.
Okay.
Over at over at UCLA. They play Oregon every single year, so
Right.
I think that's an obvious tie. Same thing with Jake Lichtenstein, or however you say his last name. He was at USC, competed against Mario. But if you guys haven't, go on YouTube and type in his name and listen to the story about him. It is like I had chills listening to it. It's phenomenal. I watched it earlier this morning, posted it in like every group chat I'm in, texted it to about 15 people. I'm like, you guys have to watch this thing and tell me you're not going to be a fan of this kid. He's a super hard worker. He's a guy that never will give up on a play. He's more of a 3-4 outside linebacker.
Yeah, he's a
so
bigger
not
dude,
really.
right? He's a bigger
Yeah,
guy, right?
he's 6'4", 245,
Well,
255.
which is the
So
kind of linebackers that Steele likes, anyways, right?
yeah, but I don't think he's like a 4-3 linebacker. I think he's more of a defensive end in a 4-3, with some versatility to be a 3-4 outside linebacker because that's what he played at UCLA. So a guy that's going to be versatile. His pressure rate was super high. I think 313 snaps he had pressure 25 times out of those 313 snaps, which is really really high. To put it into perspective, Max Crosby, Las Vegas Raiders, had 100 pressures this year out of 750 snaps. So obviously, like a decent amount more per snap, but that's the best in the NFL, right?
Right.
So a really high pressure rate. The guy that doesn't give up on plays. I think he was either tied or second in forced fumbles. He had 4 forced fumbles this past season. So again, just a high motor, high energy, ball player that I think would be very beneficial. I think he'd be in the 2 deep right away if he transferred here.
Right. And by the way, speaking of big linebackers, Tirek Austin-Cave, man, putting up some big boy linebacker numbers out, up to 233 pounds. It's a kid that I think that I really liked. Every time he was on the field, kind of just kind of that headhunter mentality, was go, 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 relentless type of a player that I really want to see if he can kind of make the next step, take the jump or a leap, I guess you can say, into that, either too deep or even maybe even get an opportunity to start, right? I mean, you get guys like that and Deshaun Troutman out there just going after people. And in the spring, we're going to see it. We're going to notice it right away if he's got an opportunity to play it right away. And to be quite honest with you, last year I noticed it in practice. And I know that, the staff is completely different. So for me, for him not to come out and get any playing time basically last year, I think was a crime and was a disservice to this football program, because his intensity, his ability to be able to go sideline to sideline at, that big. He wasn't that big. Obviously, he was probably maybe 220, 215 last year. Now he's up to 233. If he can maintain that speed, I think it's going to be pretty impressive. And I'm excited to see what Tirek Austin-Cave can do. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about him, but what I saw last year in practice, I think he should have been on the field already.
Well, I love the passion, man. Disservice to the program. Damn.
Yeah,
you went for it.
No, I really do, because I mean, you guys, you have guys like that on the bench that aren't getting any playing time when they're coming out here and they're making plays when they do get playing time. So what the hell are we even thinking about there? And a guy like Deshaun Troutman, if you saw him play against, I know Savannah State or whatever, but he was destroying people.
I know why I didn't play. I just can't say it.
Well, I'm sure you know why, right? But that's my point. That's my point right there, right?
Yeah, and I think, we're talked a lot about the linebacker position probably not being deep, or use the term productive. I think we're going to be looking for, James Williams or Austin-Cave or something. Yeah, Chase Smith. But I think we're going to probably get a little creative. And Kevin Steele, as Max has called out multiple times, is creative, plays like a lot of different formation schemes. You can't label his defense. It is, so I think we're going to see, some role flexibility here, and probably a lot of guys like Austin-Cave get on the field. So it will no longer be a disservice to the program to have him on the bench.
I thought we can't talk about that, Vish. I thought we can't talk about James Williams, the linebacker. Apparently, it's like a forbidden phrase to Cave fans.
Stupid.
Like, they just get triggered when they hear it. It's like, well, I don't know. Like, do you break down tape? Like, some of us break down tape. I mean,
also, what do we put? Are we gonna play three safeties? Like,
yeah,
I want these three guys on the field. Like, what else are we supposed to do?
I have been saying it from the get-go.
We're gonna move Avante to linebacker,
Yeah.
or Kitchens? Like, no, like James was the obvious guy to move forward.
Yeah. But it's. I mean, it was an obvious move, right? Like you said, Vish. Like,
no, it's taboo. It's
even
taboo.
talking about it, it's so crazy, because we spoke about it last year before the season started. We said this kid's gonna end up playing linebacker.
I remember.
You remember that, right, DJ? I mean, it's and then you still got. I mean, listen, that fourth quarter program seems to be doing good for a lot of guys, man. Chance Williams. This week it was Chance Williams, X, right? Restrepo, Van Dyke, and I think it was DJ Ivy. Those were the top four.
Your memory's working today, Jazz.
It's working. You see that? I'm doing well today, man. I started back at the gym. I'm working out.
Same.
Yeah, man.
I feel like I'm dying.
I'm feeling good. So do I.
I said the same thing.
Man, once baseball season comes around, Jazz is like locked in.
I'm ready to go, baby. Which by the way, a big shout out to Fresh 3542 UCLA transfer portal. Yeah, we spoke about that guy a little while ago. Brandon Looney Tunes. Jesus, what's up, Doc? Okay, maybe you know him, Max.
I'm not that crazy.
And Max answered a question for Bullyville earlier, in case you guys didn't see in the chat. If added to the staff, basically, can Taylor recruit directly? Can he directly recruit St. Thomas, or does he have to wait 2 to 4 years? You answered it there. Basically, the on-field staffers can recruit anywhere,
those
right?
rules are just they're all always getting changed. I think if you're a position coach or a DC or whatever, you can recruit it doesn't matter. If you're an off the field coach, I think he just can't recruit the school, but he would be coming here as the defensive end coach if he does get hired. So.
And that actually makes sense, because you're not gonna wait. Like, you're not gonna waste a position, or if you want to waste one of your on-field coaches, go for it. If it's to like help recruit one school, I mean, that seems like a misuse of your.
Right.
So if you want to take that risk, go for it. But yeah, anyone can just like pile in like an unqualified high school coach into an analyst position and be like, and get a pipeline. So that kind of makes sense to do it that way. If you're gonna put them in an on-field position, then.
Real quick question from M Lemon Management. What are the chances we get Rodney Gardner? He's talking about the defensive end coach, the guy over at Tennessee. We spoke to it a little earlier. It's an option. It's somebody that we've been talking about. Not a lot of the sites have been talking about him too much, but he's starting to pick up some steam. Could be a guy like that. Could be a guy like Jason Taylor. So we'll kind of wait and see on that.
I heard Vish applied.
Vish, if Vish applied, he gets it right away.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about overqualified.
Talk about hard work. Next week is going to be fun because I think it'll be the week before spring football gets underway, which will be nice. So we'll kind of do a position breakdown that day. We'll kind of focus all our efforts on some position breakdowns. We'd love to get Max back on the show, maybe some of the guys like E and Dave and all them. And we'll do a position breakdown right before spring. It's going to be interesting because there's a lot of guys missing, which gives the opportunity for some of the younger guys and some of the guys that didn't get the opportunity last year.
We do have one more question in the chat. I just want to make sure we don't ignore Daryl's.
I didn't see that. My bad, Daryl. What are we going to do with Frierson? Does he still start? And if so, where? I'll start off with this. Is he going to start? I don't know. I think again, Steele has so many different packages where he can move so many guys around. I don't know if this striker position is going to be a point of emphasis this year in this defense. I think he's going to get the opportunity just like everybody else. Could he put on some a few more pounds and play more linebacker? Is he going to drop down and play more safety? I don't know exactly. Maybe you guys can talk about this a little bit more. Max. Every time I see Miami Flo, I want to say call you Flo. Jesus Christ. Max, Vish, what do you guys think of Frierson? I loved him a couple years ago, but I know last year he kind of fell off a little bit. But I think he has that opportunity.
Bad coaching can ruin good talent. So he had an off year last year, had a great year the year before. He was probably the most consistent player on defense in what was it, 20?
The COVID year, right?
COVID year. 2020. So no, I mean I think he has the potential to start. I don't think any job is one outside of maybe TVD. When Mario makes this claim that he's like the best quarterback in college, it'd kind of be weird if he didn't. But again, open competition everywhere. I think he has a chance to start. He would be playing linebacker here. He has put on some weight. I don't know specifically what his weight is right now, but he's definitely gotten bigger. And he's a very cerebral player. So I think he does have a chance to start, and I would be totally fine with it if he did.
Nice. Guys, I think that's it for today. Unless, Vish, you got something else to say, man?
No, I just wanted to. Robin gave us a shout out in the chat earlier. We kind of blew past it. So, Robin, what's up, man?
Robin Delatorre. Yeah, there he is. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Next week it'll be fun. So we'll keep it locked here for that. Make sure you guys tune in if you didn't catch the whole episode. Watch it a little bit later. It'll be on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube network and on the YouTube network as well. It's always a pleasure to have my Team Miami Flow guys on. Max, always a pleasure, my man. Vish and DJ, always bringing it. And, that's it, man. We'll see you guys next week. Yeah, make sure you subscribe and give us a like. And
do all that stuff. You know all the stuff. You know all the stuff. And if you buy Miami Flow merch, it does go to NIL deals for the players. So
yes, shout out to that. Max, let them know. Yeah, let them know. Only if you would do it.
You gotta come off mute to let them know.
You're on mute.
I did my best, but you definitely have more details.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's miamiflow.company.site. That's our website to buy the merch. So if you guys are interested in that, check it out. So awesome. That's that.
You can buy one of our shirts too if you want. It's on the 5 Reasons Sports.
We got the 16 cups of Cuban coffee and 2 hours of sleep shirts. So
which none of us wore. We're terrible.
Yeah, none of us wore. None of us wore today. Jazz did wear it last week.
I'm just going to say one more thing. Don't ever come on here with a Lakers hat again, all right, Max? It's unacceptable.
Go Celtics.
All right, Red Sox fan.
I did like how we saw the sunset behind him as dark now over the course of the show. That was pretty cool.
You still have a little bit of color, though, so that's good.
It's not too dark yet.
Thank you guys for coming on, man, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Talk to you guys then. Go Canes.